Ayala effect and fan base behind me is gonna be funny. She's carrying the crowd, so it's gonna be interesting.
$140 Royal Blue kit, a 21-year-old Filipina ranked 20th in the world, and a Nike marketing campaign that, based on photos fans have been sharing across social media this week, is reportedly appearing on the sides of buildings throughout New York City. Alex Eala may not be the highest-ranked player at the 2026 US Open, but she is certainly attracting plenty of attention. She is not American, and she is not a Grand Slam champion. Yet somehow, heading into the biggest tournament on the North American calendar, she has become the player Nike has chosen to put at the center of its campaign. The question being quietly discussed across the WTA locker room is a simple one: why her? Why now? And what does Nike see that the rest of the tour has not fully recognized yet? To understand the scale of Nike's investment, there is one number that tells the story. Alex Eala is the first Filipina in history to break into the WTA Top 20 and the first to win a WTA 500 title, following her Washington, D.C. Open victory over Jessica Pegula. Those achievements explain the attention, but Nike's commitment over the past 12 months has been far bigger than her ranking alone would suggest. Then, on August 20, 2025, the story took a dramatic turn. That was the day Eala arrived at Nike's New York City headquarters and shared a simple two-word caption on Instagram: New York, New York. That post immediately sparked a wave of discussion across the tennis world, and the conversation has continued ever since. Nike does not normally bring players ranked in the 70s to its global headquarters just before a Grand Slam. It also does not usually create solo Grand Slam campaigns for athletes who have never won a major title. Historically, Nike has reserved much of its New York City billboard space for American stars. Madison Keys received that kind of treatment after winning the 2025 Australian Open, with her image appearing across the Manhattan skyline alongside the Nike swoosh. Now, reports circulating among Filipino tennis communities and tennis-focused social media accounts suggest that Nike may be preparing a similar billboard campaign for Eala ahead of the 2026 US Open. Mainstream media has not confirmed the exact billboard locations. Still, the excitement around the story is impossible to ignore, and the public signs Nike has already shown make the campaign seem less like a rumor and more like something that could be coming. Meanwhile, the higher-ranked veterans on Nike's roster have remained silent in public. They do not have to say anything. Their silence is part of the story. Look at the pattern, because once you notice it, the signs become hard to ignore. In July 2025, Nike created a custom Sampaguita hair tie for Eala's Wimbledon center court debut. The Sampaguita is the national flower of the Philippines. Brands do not normally create country-specific products for players they consider minor figures. That is the language of a long-term franchise investment. It is similar to the design approach Nike used with Naomi Osaka to highlight her Haitian-Japanese identity in 2019. Then, in August 2025, Eala appeared on the cover of Vogue Philippines, wearing Nike exclusively. The photos were taken by Mark Nickdow and featured in an editorial titled, "Alex Eala Honors Heritage," with her custom Nike shirt. Sponsors do not usually coordinate Vogue covers at this level. This looks much more like a carefully planned national icon campaign. Just days later, she shared a post from Nike's New York City headquarters. Soon after that, the tournament got underway. On August 24, 2025, at Louis Armstrong Stadium, Eala stepped onto the court against world number 14 Clara Tauson, wearing Nike Vapor Pro 3 shoes, premium footwear that would later become part of her own signature player collection at Tennis Warehouse. She went on to lose the second set 2-6, then fell behind 5-1 in the deciding tiebreak. But in front of a New York crowd that had expected the match to go the other way, she suddenly turned things around, winning 7 of the next 8 points and closing it out 7-6 in the 11th. Weeks later, the Nike commercial shared across social media would feature that same stadium, the same player silhouette, and the same royal blue color palette. The investment began to pay off on the court Nike had already chosen to spotlight. By October 2025, Sports Illustrated was openly discussing the story. Then, in February 2026, Nike brought Eala to its global headquarters in Beaverton, Oregon, for a personalized welcome ceremony. The company later shared the moment on its corporate account with the caption, "Salamat Sampaguita, thank you for visiting," highlighting her Filipino identity and the significance of the visit. The audience in Manila understood exactly what that message meant, even before anyone in Beaverton needed to explain it. Put the timeline together, and the pattern becomes difficult to ignore. Wimbledon brought the custom Filipino product. August delivered the Vogue cover and New York City Top 20 breakthrough. October brought signature tier retail treatment, February saw the Oregon welcome, and by August 2026, Nike had a solo commercial ready to launch. The $140 royal blue kit and court slam dress are now on shelves, while reports suggest Nike billboards are rising above the crowds as the U.S. Open approaches in Flushing Meadows. Filipino fans who believed in Eala 2 years ago and insisted she was not simply a novelty or a diversity checkbox but a future global Nike star, now have plenty of evidence on their side. The signs are no longer hidden. The proof is appearing on the sides of buildings. Sports Illustrated has been publishing since 1954. It is the American magazine that helped turn tennis stars into major cultural figures, from Billie Jean King appearing on its covers to Serena Williams being named Sportsperson of the Year. So when the magazine's tennis desk writes about a player, those words carry the credibility and influence built over more than 7 decades. In October 2025, SI writer Alex Wong published the statement that seemed to settle the debate. He wrote that Alex Eala had officially arrived as a legitimate contender on the WTA Tour. This was not the language of fan accounts or Filipino diaspora excitement. It came from one of the most established voices in American sports media, openly confirming what Nike had already invested millions of dollars in. The Washington Post reinforced that view just days earlier, describing the 2025 U.S. Open as an athleisure battle and pointing to Nike's aggressive approach, with Eala positioned as its newest major asset in that competition. When Sports Illustrated and the Washington Post tell the same story from different perspectives, the message becomes difficult to dismiss. At that point, Nike's strategy is no longer simply about Alex Eala, it is really about geography. For decades, Nike's biggest tennis marketing investments have centered on American, European, and Japanese stars such as Serena, Sharapova, and Osaka. Southeast Asia was rarely part of that strategy. The Philippines, with more than 100 million people and one of the world's largest sneaker-buying diasporas, was not previously seen as a major answer to Nike's growth strategy. Now, that appears to be changing. That is what the reported billboards could represent. This is not just about one athlete's rise. It could represent an entire market entering the tennis conversation on a much larger scale for the first time. Now look at the calendar. The 2026 U.S. Open is scheduled to run from August 23 through September 13, and Eala's Fan Week exhibition against Eva Jovic on August 27 at Arthur Ashe Stadium is already being treated as a major promotional moment. After that, Nike's next confirmed product release is her Wimbledon 2026 Vapor Pro 3 in the white and University Gold colorway. Every one of these events serves as another checkpoint. Each one gives Nike another reason to secure advertising space in New York, Manila, or London. Tournament directors are paying attention to which players bring fans through the gates, while Nike is making its own statement about who deserves that spotlight. But the record is not perfect. For days after the toss-in upset, Eala returned to the U.S. Open grounds and lost her second-round match to Spain's Cristina Buxa, 6-4, 6-3. Just 8 days after her Nike New York headquarters post, her 2025 U.S. Open campaign had come to an end. She did not disappear or step away from the spotlight. Instead, she addressed the setback in her own words. After an earlier defeat that season, she wrote about the tough loss while reminding herself to appreciate the chance to live out her dreams, even when those dreams come with difficult days. Within months of the Buxa defeat, she was lifting a WTA 500 trophy in Washington after defeating Jessica Pegula 4-6, 6-4, 6-0. It was a remarkably quick journey from a second-round Grand Slam exit to the first title of her career. 2 words on Instagram in August, followed by a Sampaguita hair tie at Wimbledon tiebreak comeback from 5-1. A Vogue cover. A Filipino welcome ceremony in Oregon. A royal blue $140 kit now displayed in Nike stores. And now, reportedly, her image appearing across the city hosting the final Grand Slam of the year. Nike did not make Alex Eala the center of its U.S. Open campaign simply because she is ranked number 20 in the world. Nike placed her at the center because it appears to have already decided that Eala can become the face of a market it has never truly owned before. And every WTA veteran who assumed the New York spotlight was still reserved for them is now quietly realizing that they may no longer control that conversation. That leads to the question worth debating. Is Nike investing in Alex Eala because she is already a superstar? Or is Nike actually helping create the next tennis superstar right before our eyes? Share your prediction in the comments and be specific. If you think Eala will break into the WTA top 10 by the end of 2026, subscribe and put your prediction on record. This channel will follow every billboard, every commercial, every Nike product release, and every match on the journey to Arthur Ashe Stadium. Make your prediction now, and when the trophy is finally lifted, we can see which side of history you are on.